What's poppin', everybody? It's Steezy, and these are the best settings in Fortnite. So this is what everybody's been asking me forever, and a lot of you already know about this, but for those of you that don't, I bhop with scroll wheel. It makes bhopping about 1,000,000 times easier, since every time you scroll, it's inputting jump about 10 or more times depending on what mouse you're using, rather than just pressing spacebar once. Most of the time I'm going for bhop, so I'll use the G502 since you can flick the scroll wheel and it will continue spinning for a second even when your finger isn't touching it. However, it's doable with just about any mouse. And the only other thing that matters in the movement section is just that you would want to have crouch on a key that you wouldn't take your fingers off of WASD for. So, for example, just a button that you would press with your thumb or pinky. For combat binds, you should all just be whatever is comfortable for you. But if you don't use scroll wheel jump, I recommend having U's bound to scroll wheel since you'll have a better chance at winning 50-50s on chests. Now, onto building, there's a lot to cover, but before I start, the most important thing is having binds that you're comfortable with, even if they're not the best that they can be. But if you're okay with binds that will be a little weird to get used to, I recommend doing it. So for starters, I recommend having all your build binds on keys that are, for one, all pressed with separate fingers, and two, bound to keys that are not pressed with your WASD finger. If you take Beats for example, everybody knows Beats for how perfect his movement is, and that's all possible because he has optimal binds for building. Moving on, I have double rotate binds for things like this. However, I rarely use them, so it's not really necessary. I have changed material on tab because I'd always press the right click on accident and waste brick or metal when I didn't mean to, but again, this isn't necessary, but it might help. For editing, I use confirm on release with scroll wheel reset, and I don't really recommend anybody using triple or double edit binds anymore unless you have an extra bind to use it on. I just don't think it's worth the extra input since release is just as fast, if not faster. I'd say to just use single bind with scroll wheel reset if you're looking for more control. With that being said, you can have your edit key on whatever is comfortable for you, but I keep mine on my mouse for full movement. Or select edit, and this is an important one, but I have it bound to right click instead of left. This is super helpful, and I recommend everybody switches to this, especially if you use confirm on release. Reason for this is because when you edit something, you can instantly build after you edit since you don't have to take your index finger off of left click at all. This is huge since you can mow people way faster and you can do hard edits much easier. Also, my middle finger is faster than my pointer finger as it is, so it also increases my edit speed a bit. And then since I have selected it on right click, reset is moved to left, and of course mouse wheel down so I can scroll wheel reset as well. And the only other thing to note about my binds is just having your carry and place binds on a different key than you have U's on. And this will stop you from picking up people on accident in mid-fight, like I know that happens to everybody. But other than that, everything else is pretty self-explanatory. And moving on to my sense, I play on 70 EDPI, and if you don't know what that is, it's just taking off the zeros from your DPI and multiplying it by your in-game sense. So for example, my DPI is 1600, so it would be 16 times 4.3, which is about 70. If you wanted to use this sense with 800 DPI, you would use 8.75% in-game, and you'd get the same result. And everything else is personal preference, but I recommend a very low targeting sense. The last thing I feel like should be explained is the colorblind setting, and no, I'm not colorblind, but certain colorblind settings will make it much easier to see into the storm, as well as make the game look better in my opinion. I'd stay away from Tritanope unless you actually have Tritanopia, since it makes the storm brighter and harder to see into. I use Deuteranope 5, but Protanope 10 is good as well. I think that covers just about everything. Everybody has been asking for this for the longest time, so in the future, if I end up changing stuff, I'll probably just make little updates. But anyways, as always, I hope you all enjoyed. If you want to support me, use code SteezyX20 in the item shop and leave a like on the video. But thanks for watching and have a good day. Later.